my fellow furniture friends, welcome to my channel Forever Spring Furniture and welcome to another video. Today, without further explanation, we just hop into the video and check out the makeover of this cute 7-drawer dresser. I hope you enjoy the project. See you later. This is the piece. On the first glance it looks very good. Upon further inspection it has some chips and some dents, but nothing too bad, and it's a all wood piece, so it's a perfect substance to work with. After I remove the hardware, the first step this time will not be to clean the piece, but as you can see, I'm scraping off some of the old varnish. In first place, I really wanted to check out how to work with the paint scraper, because it's a new toy I have and I haven't used it before. And secondly, it's actually quite cold outside at the moment and I just don't want to spend ages standing outside sanding down all the varnish. So scraping off the biggest part of it really helps to cut down the time outside. And as you can see, this really is an easy and effective procedure. Here you see how far I got using the paint scraper. There was this quite big chip on the bottom part and I used wood putty to reconstruct this corner. Using a putty knife would make the whole thing a bit more elegant and perhaps a bit more professional. But for me it works perfectly fine to just use my fingers to push it into place. There were several other chips and I just did the same. I used the wood putty to fill them in, and later they will be sanded down to make the whole thing smooth. So to the next step, it's sanding. Of course, I brought the piece outside and now we can remove the rest of the old varnish to make it all nice and clean and smooth. There is still a bit of hand sanding lying in front of me because of course I didn't get into all the corners with my orbital sander, and then there is still the wood putty that needs to be sanded down. So here we go. The corners of the side panels, I of course sanded down to the bare wood as well, because this part is going to be a wood color combination, and the rest of the piece, so here the rim and then most of the drawers, they will be painted. So I just give them a scuff sand using a 120 grit sanding paper. The most time-consuming step in this whole project was to sand the inlay of the two topmost drawers down, because here I want to have the same design as on the side panels and I had to sand it down to the bare wood as well. And since the plate of my orbital sander is too big, I had to hand sand it. Of course, I scraped as much of the varnish as possible down with the paint scraper, but nonetheless it was quite a bit of hand sanding and it just took a long time. But so far so good. I'm done with the dirty prep work and now it's time to clean the piece and to start priming it afterwards. Yeah, so that's definitely my least favorite part of each project, the cleaning, but it's super important, and it really is the basis for good paint adhesion, that you have a clean and dust-free piece. So invest a good amount of time in properly cleaning your piece. It will pay back. So we are ready to paint. This is a step I usually tend to forget, and then I have to make some patch-up work in the end. But this time I remember to tape off the edges to have a nice clean border, and transition line from wood to paint. Let me quickly interrupt the tutorial part of the video and let me thank you for the comments I get. I highly appreciate it. I'm really bad at responding to the comments, but you can be sure I read all of them and I appreciate all of them, the positive feedback as well as the critics, though I have to admit that I prefer reading the positive feedback. So now back to the work. Before applying the primer and the paint, I sealed the gap between the tape and the surface with some clear lacquer, because I quite often have the issue that some of the primer or the paint will sip under the tape and it just looks very ugly. There is no sharp line and it looks messy. So applying some clear lacquer on the gap, that really helps to get crisp lines. Finally, it's time to paint. I start with a coat of primer before adding the paint. This is my color. It's a custom mix and I'm really happy with it because it turned out as I imagined it. I applied 2 layers of paint as almost always. And I basically painted the whole piece with this flat but broad artist brush, so it seemed to me more reasonable than using one of my bigger paint brushes, because the front of the drawers and the side rims, they just had so many low points, and the artist brush was really a good choice to get in all the details. Now, the 2 layers of paint are on, but I didn't like the tone of the bare wood I have here, so it is a bit too yellowish for my taste, and I decided to now give it a color wash. Of course, I should have done that before painting the side rims, but you're always more clever at the end of the day, right? And I just didn't like the tone of the wood. And here we go, the same color, just watered down a lot. I applied a generous amount of the wash over the whole surface and then wiped it back with a lint-free cloth. I repeated the washing process twice, and here on the drawer front you can see the difference, how the yellow tones are now tuned down. Next step, the highlights of the piece will be the golden stripes on the topmost drawers and on the side panels of the corpus. Here I already taped my stripes down, and the same process as I did before, I use some clear lacquer to seal the gap between the masking tape and my wood. The coverage of that particular metallic gold paint is not so good. It usually takes me 3 coats to get full coverage, but I really like the sheen of it. It has this antique goldish glam and it just looks really pretty then. And this was definitely the most fun part of the whole project, to peel off the masking tape and reveal the overall look with the stripes. This is beautiful, it is shiny and it has extremely crisp lines. And since you can never have enough gold on a piece, I added some more, especially here on the rim of the top, but then on the front of the separators between the drawers and on the rim of the bottom plate. I really didn't want to tape off again, so I had to focus on keeping a steady hand, and that bit was like meditation. That's it. The design process is done, and now everything needs to be sealed in. As always, I applied 2 coats of a PU enhanced clear lacquer. Let's take a look at the hardware. It didn't look too good anymore, and the golden tone was quite different to the one I used on the wood, so I decided to use the same color, the same paint I used for the hardware as well. A light scuff sand helped me to get rid of all loose particles of the old gold plating. And it roughens up the surface so the paint has something to grab on. You can see here again, I would say that the first coat of this specific metallic paint doesn't really give coverage at all. It looks at least like there's nothing on, but here you see the comparison, 1 coat versus 3 coats, and that looks now very nice. I totally forgot about the legs. I wanted to get rid of the legs and I kept them on until the end. It was just very convenient to have some spacing to the floor to do all the painting on the bottom plate, but now it's really time to remove these old legs. They were broken in some parts, so off they go. That's it. Time to assemble the piece. Welcome back. Here we are again. Another project is done. That was a cute one. I think it was a lot of fun. It is a bit a different design, so I'm still not quite sure if I'm super happy with the golden stripes at the side, but it's definitely something different for me, so it was good fun to do it. I hope you as well enjoyed the video and enjoyed the project. Leave me a comment and subscribe. There will be new videos coming. Until that, see you soon. Bye bye and bis bald.